Before we start episode 3 of Hot Sauce Takes, I would like to say on January 30th, Saturday, this week, I will be doing another live stream at 2 p.m. Pacific time. So there we just do NBA discussion. I answer all of your questions. And I'd really appreciate if you come because it's just really fun for everyone who comes. It's just a good way for me to just talk with you guys. You can be in this video if you go in the live stream, if you have a take. So yeah, make sure January 30th, Saturday, 2 p.m. Pacific time. Make sure to be there. Now enjoy the video. Now, welcome to the third episode of Hot Sauce Takes, where I take you, as a viewer, your hottest takes, and I give you my reaction to. So before you thought I would do like on Mondays and Mondays, but now I'm going to be doing it every Monday and Thursday. So yeah, be on the lookout for that. Make sure to comment down below your Hot Sauce Takes, and for next episode, if you comment down below your hottest takes, I'll give you an 100% chance that you will be in the next video. So if you want to be in a video, comment down below your hottest takes. Now before we get started on the video, it would be greatly appreciated to subscribe to the channel. Here on the Mix channel, we make constant NBA content that you're surely going to enjoy. And just also leave a like because it only takes 1 second and makes a really big difference. And also, if you're new, comment down below, I subscribe shout out. There, I'll heart your comment, reply to your comment, and shout you out on the next video. And today's shout out is Ball Out. So yeah, shout out to you, Ball Out. I really appreciate for you watching the videos, subscribe to the channel, and also shout out to anyone for Kenny for real. I really appreciate you checking out the content. So now, let's begin. Now, the first take we're going to be looking at comes to us from Splashout, and he says the Brooklyn Nets will not make the finals. In the 2019 offseason, the Nets made a splash, signing both Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant. And this year, they still felt like they needed more star power. Then they shipped Karis LeVert, Jared Allen, Taurean Prince, and every single one of their first-round picks for future Hall of Famer James Harden. However, there are still some glaring weaknesses on this roster. Can one of these stars take a backseat and be an Alfred? I know Kyrie and Harden are probably fine with being the Robin, but are they willing to be just that third option? But mainly, their lack of defense and they have no depth. Jared Allen was an amazing rim protector, and with Harden and Kyrie not being the best perimeter defenders, and yes, KD's a pretty good defender, while also DeAndre Jordan not being the same defender as before, this is not a good defensive team. Defense wins championships, and every team that has won the championship in the last 19 years has had a top 10 defense in the league. In 2000, the Lakers did not have a top 10 defense, but in the playoffs, they had the best defense in the whole league. So defense is very important to just winning to win a championship. This team needs to make trades to win a championship, and I agree that right now this current team can probably maybe make the finals, but I don't think they can beat the Lakers. Now, the next take comes to us from George, and he says the Jazz will be NBA champions this year. The Utah Jazz are always a well-run franchise that is a perennial playoff team, and in the regular season, they go on some insane runs. Right now, they're on a 10-game win streak. However, when facing the best of the best, the Jazz just aren't good enough to beat the LA teams. And yes, they won a 3-1 to the Nuggets, but I still think that the Nuggets are better than this Jazz team. This team is just not talented enough. They, of course, have Donovan Mitchell, who's a star in the league. Mike Conley is a really good point guard. Rudy Gobert, who's a defensive player of the year and anchors the defense on this team. And Bojan Bogdanovic and Joe Ingles all being quality NBA players while having a scoring six-man in Jordan Clarkson. But this isn't enough. I could see the Jazz just losing in the first or second round, and they just did this last year. They won like on a 10-game win streak, and they of course lost in the first round. Now I know they have Bojan Bogdanovic this year, but I still think that they're not good enough to beat the LA teams. Now, the next take comes to us from We Are the Mini Squad, and he says the Nets should trade Kyrie Irving for better role players, or they won't have a shot at the championship. Now, before the Big Three played, I thought Kyrie should be traded, but what would they trade Kyrie for? Just thinking about that. I was thinking about a trade of Lonzo Ball, Eric Bledsoe, Steven Adams, and a first-round pick for Kyrie Irving. Now, the Nets get defense, with Zoe, Bledsoe all being really good perimeter defenders, and Adams being a really good paint defender, and that's what the Nets really need. The Pelicans get just a starter player in Kyrie, which is just a win-now move just to get a run for the playoffs, because they want B.I. and Zion to be happy. But I just don't know if this team would match well against the Lakers, Clippers, or Bucks. Would it be better with Kyrie or with role players? I would personally go for defense, but I can definitely see the other side. Now, if you want to face like the Lakers only have 2 stars, and if you have 3 stars, then that can definitely push you over the top. But I still think that having a competent team besides those 3 stars is really important. I think that trade is just a really interesting one. Now, next take comes to us from Cookie Monster 1137, and he says, where does Pascal Siakam rank in the NBA right now? Pascal Siakam has had quite a crazy career already. In his first couple years, he developed in the Raptors' amazing development staff, then became the most improved player in 2019, and was the second option in a finals run. But with Kawhi Leonard going to LA, Spicy P became a first option. However, but in the first couple months, he was on fire. He was an all-star in an all-NBA second team, and he looked like a really good player. But in the bubble, and especially in the playoffs, he struggled. And just in the playoffs, they were just hounding him. He just used the spin move too much, and he just isn't a very good first option. This year, he wanted to prove himself, but he's still only averaging 18 points, 8 rebounds, 4.6 assists on 25% from 3, and 76% from the line. This is much worse than last year, and like I said, has spammed the spin move, and it's starting to they can just read it really easily. I think that Pascal is right now a top 40 player. Before the playoffs, I would say he was like a top 25 player, but he's really fallen off, and mainly because the Raptors have been kind of struggling with him being the first option. They've been a lot better recently, but he's just a really good second option with his elite defense, elite post play. He is just being really good on the fast break, but he's just not good as a first option. But he still is a top 40 player in the NBA. The next take comes to us from Greek Young Buck, and he says the Clippers will make the finals but lose to the Brooklyn Nets. Now, I already told you what I think about the Nets, and they need a lot more moves to make the finals, but the potential of that big three, it's just so insane. Now, for the Clippers, they're definitely a better team than last year. Yes, not on paper. Basketball is not played on paper. But just their playmaking and chemistry is so much better. Surge's stretchability fits better than Montrezl Harrell. And yes, Lou Wings over Rings has struggled, but Nicholas Batum has stepped up as being a secondary playmaker and shooting pretty efficiently. George and Kawhi have both averaged over 5 assists per game, and that's really good for this team. Coach Tyronn Lue has just fostered ball movement in the system, and the Clippers are shooting a staggering hot 43% from downtown. That is basically the percentage of prime Kyle Korver. Now, it'll be very tough to beat the Los Angeles Lakers in a 7-game series, but this team matches up very well with the Clippers, with Kawhi matching up very well with LeBron. And now I'm not exactly now Serge can try his best against Anthony Davis, and I'm not exactly sure who can stop Paul George and Kawhi. I mean, of course, you have people like KCP, Caruso, who are always, of course, really good defenders, but these are just Paul George and Kawhi. Yes, Paul George is clowned a lot, but he's still a really good player, and I still have the Lakers over them, but the Clippers are definitely going to make it competitive. Now, the next take comes to us from Daxi521, And his first take is Jokic will win MVP over Joel Embiid and Luka Doncic. And his second take is Ben Simmons will never become a first option and thus never becoming a superstar. First, looking at his first take, Jokic has been a beast on the offensive side for the Nuggets, almost averaging a triple-double as a center. The Nuggets have definitely been a lot better since their slow start in the beginning, but I would have him over Jokic over Luka because of his team success, but I still gotta have Embiid and LeBron ahead of him. Not only because of their stats, but because they're both the first seeds in their conference right now. And also because Jokic isn't the best defender, he's an underrated defender, but he's still not amazing. While LeBron has been just on a good defensive team, and he's just the anchor of that, and Embiid's a really good defender. And then, looking at a second take, I believe that Ben Simmons can be a superstar. If you play 2K, you can see that he's a real beast. But in real life, he just has to be more aggressive. He has all the gifts in the world, being like a 6'9" point guard who can handle the ball. And that's just such a unique skill set. I think he should attempt at least a couple threes in the whole season. Doc Rivers should probably push Simmons to shoot more. I'm not sure why. And I also think that the reason why Simmons hasn't just taken the next step is because he isn't in the right system. He doesn't fit the best with Joel Embiid, and because Embiid's the better player, they gotta have the system around Embiid. And Simmons just isn't just good when his center just dominates in the post, when he's really good attacking the rim. I really wanted to see Ben Simmons in a different situation, like Houston for James Harden, or potentially Washington for Bradley Beal, but it's just going to be really interesting. Ben Simmons, like I said, elite playmaker, one of the best perimeter defenders in the whole league, really good at attacking the rim, good at rebounding, just everything besides shooting and just offensive aggression that he really needs to unlock his game. Now, I really think that if he's in a different system, he can break out, and I'm really hoping that he can soon get out of Philly. I mean, I know Philly's probably the best situation, but as for his career, I think getting out of Philly, getting out of Joel Embiid's shadow would help a lot. Now, the last take we're going to be looking at comes to us from JPK Plays, and he has, like some other people, has multiple takes. His first one is that the Nets won't go to the conference finals, the Jazz are better than the Clippers, and Jaylen Brown is better than Jason Tatum. Now, I talked about the Nets a lot in this video, so you know my thoughts about that. Yes, the Jazz have been really good, going on that big win streak, mainly from their chemistry, high volume of threes and hitting them, and elite defense. But the Clippers are better than last year and are serious contenders. And it's just going to be really interesting. Just this Clippers team is just a lot better. And yes, we are unsure of what they will do in the playoffs, but I still have the Clippers over the Jazz 100 times out of 100 times. Now, the Brown versus Tatum claim has been really interesting. Brown is leading in the most improved candidate and is averaging 27 points a game with elite defense. He has right now been deadly from the mid-range and finishes strong around the rim. But I still have Tatum over him. Tatum is a superstar, in my opinion, a top 20 player in the whole NBA. But Brown has no doubt made it close because he has really been good this year, and I'm really happy for him emerging as a star. This young duo in Boston is looking deadly, and I can't wait to see what they have in the future. So yeah, that's going to be episode 3 of Hot Sauce Takes. I hope you enjoyed this video. Make sure to comment down below your hottest takes to me in the next video. If you're new, comment down below, I subscribe, shout out. Make sure to like the video for more Hot Sauce Takes videos, and also make sure to come to the live stream on Saturday, 2 p.m. Pacific time. Can't wait to see you there. And now I hope you have a good day, and peace out.